awaiting the Holy Spirit. In this sacred space, Peter provided a spiritual diagnosis of Judas. He explains how a man who held the highest office could still fall into destruction. The text warns that one can hold the office of an apostle while possessing an apostate. Judas had every external privilege. He had divine truth and carried the apostolic responsibility, yet his heart remained conquered, and not conquered by the word, but conquered by the external of Jesus Christ. Friends, to remain in the same condition, we can be externally excluded while we are internally disconnected. We can externally be included in the things of God, but internally disconnected by the so God we claim. In this, we find Judas became accustomed to the miracles. He had sermons until truth became common. He handled ministry until only things lost their weight upon his conscience. Why does proximity fail to transform Judas? Because exposure without surrender leads to spiritual numbness. For many young people today, the danger is growing in an expected manner or an determined rate. The spirit is really out here. We sound so spiritual. We are around preaching. We are listening to someone's YouTube and even physically. We are found in worship places and we use the Christian language, yet we remain inwardly untouched. We must understand that church culture is not the same as Christ's character. You can speak the language of the tribe without the knowledge of the area. The warning that we have is, do not become professionally religious while spiritually empty. Exposure to truth versus transformation by truth is an issue to be considered. The gospel was never designed merely to inform the mind. It was designed to transform the heart. Judas had the truth incarnate but resisted surrender, because Judas didn't start by hating Jesus. He started by prioritizing his own stranger in truth. He was physically in the upper room during the Last Supper. He was already in the dark. This is the epitome of having a form of godliness but denying its power. As Paul puts it well, he writes to Timothy in the second letter of Timothy, chapter 3, verse 5. Without surrender, truth becomes mere information. A person may know theology and still not just know Christ. As we see in the young ruler or Nicodemus, the difference is never just exposure to Jesus. A young ruler didn't accept that Jesus was Jesus and they got to talk to him. Nicodemus got to Jesus. His last life was to be born again through the Holy Spirit. Judas saw demons flee, yet miracles around him did not produce holiness within him. This leads us to add analytical truth that spiritual activity equals spiritual maturity. A microphone does spirituality, and church position does not guarantee pride. Doesn't qualify you that you are acceptable to God or to Christ. If proximity alone could transform, Judas would be a hero. Instead, we must conclude that transformation is not a byproduct of geographical or nearness to Christ. It is a byproduct of total surrender to Him. If from proximity we were enough in that time, then the cross will have been unnecessarily useful to us. And friends, Acts chapter 1 publicly exposes what was secretly growing. Spiritual collapse is never a sudden thing or a sudden occurrence. It is a progressive erosion where compromise is tolerated and conviction is ignored. The analytical root of Judas' fall was his perspective of that he treated Jesus as a resource